Hello everyone, thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to make a quick tutorial on Mach 3, and in particular I want to talk about this wizards function up here. And why I like to use the wizards function is there's a lot of different can cycles in there. Say I was going to do a bolt hole circle or a rectangular or a circular pocket, or even write some quick text. Rather than having to draw this all up and then take it over into MakerCam, I can do everything right here in Mach 3, and it makes it really handy. So let's take a look at some of these wizards. So as we open it up, you'll see a bunch of them here, and it tells you who the author of them was and what their functions are. Now, not every one of these are included in this, the copies that you got. It depends on where you got your router. Maybe you got a completely unlocked copy. That would be nice. But even if you get the demo version, you'll get most of these. You won't get like this. This is a pretty fancy one, this newfangled a suite of handy wizards. You have to buy a subscription or pay a one-time fee for that. But almost everything that you're gonna use is included in here. So let's look at one of them. Let's look at this drill circular bolt pattern. So what it's looking for first here is the bolt hole circle diameter. So what's our diameter of this bolt hole circle? Well, say I want one at 2.5 inches. And then I want to know where I'm going to start. I can start at angle 0, and this is angle 0 here. This would be 90 degrees. This would be 180, 270, back 360 and 0. And then where do I want to start? Well, I want to start in my XY position. I want this center to be XY 0. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just have something down there, and I'll know where I want to place that. And then I'll just bring my tool, the drill, right down, and then set my XY 0 there, and then that works well for me. So our start angle is 0, the depth of hole, whatever you want it to be. Say I want 375 thousandths deep. How many holes do we want? Well, I'm going to say I want an 8-hole pattern here. So we'll call up our tool, tool 1. Our feed rate, 5 inches a minute, and that's what that is, an inches a minute. That's pretty safe right there for most materials. And again, these are CNC routers, so they're really light. We're going to take it really easy on all that. This is our retract, our safe Z. So every time this comes out, and when it comes up to it, it's going to come to this. This would represent the top of the part. This represents the clearance plane here. And we set that at 100 thousandths. That's just fine. Our peck depth, typically what you do on a peck depth is kind of based on a ratio of this body diameter. So say I had a 1/4 inch drill. A lot of times on a regular CNC where you had good flood coolant on there and had your speed and feed dialed in, you can go half the body diameter. So you could actually peck it like 125 thousandths on a 1/4 inch diameter drill. And again, it does depend on the material, but by and large, that's a pretty safe number. Not so much on the CNC router. We want that to peck, come back out. We don't want to put a lot of thrust in there that the CNC, that little spindle can't handle. So that'll come down and then retract out to that safe spot, but only if we pick the correct cycle, and that would be the G83 cycle. So the G83 allows us to come down to the peck, and it comes completely out. I like this cycle because it allows for good chip evacuation and gets that chip out of there. Now what the G81 is, that's for more of a center drill. Say I wanted to come in here and center drill, say I had a hunk of steel, and I just wanted to lay it on my router and just get my locations. I can do that because all that G81 is going to do is feed down It's going to tell it come down at whatever desired feed, and it's going to come right back up to that clearance plane, go on to the next hole. That way you don't have to really push your machine hard. You're just spotting it for location. Then you can put it on a heavier drill press and drill that out if you wish. The G73, that's more designed for really high quality drills and good flood coolant to help with your chip evacuation. Because what that's going to do is it's going to come down, peck, retract to that whatever you're going to pop that out at. So it'll come back out just a little ways out of there. Again, I like the G83, good chip evacuation. Some of your CNCs, the routers might read a value on there for the spindle. I know mine, I just control it with the drive. And but I would, you want to pick and calculate your speeds and feeds. You can use the machinist handbook, or there's a lot of on the internet, a lot of speed and feed guides. But we'll say we're going to go into plastic or something. That's fine. RPM. M3, that is clockwise motion. If you're using right-handed drills, and most of us will be using right-handed drills, that's what we're going to be using. And then the units, we're going to pick inch here. You could do all this in metric if your machine's set up for metric. And then coolant, if you want that, that'll add an M8 code on there for coolant. But again, that's only if you, that's an automatic function. By and large, with mine, I would take I got a little spray bottle, and I just squirt the coolant on there to keep it cool. So we'll look, we got our XY position, we have our bolt diameter, our start angle, a number of holes, our depth, tool number, feed rate, rapid, peck, and it looks like we're ready to go. So we're going to post this code, and then when we exit, that'll load it into the control here. Now you can see that pops up, and that's just what we're looking for. So let's go, I'll zero that all out, and we're going to go to toolpath, and when I do that, that brings us up so I can actually see what's going on here. So let's take a look at this code once. We have that G83, and it's telling it to go to X of 1.25. So from the center hole right to here, it's 1.25. That would give you that 2.5 inch bolt hole circle diameter. So then we know that our next move will be coming up at 45 degrees, and that would be those numbers right there. And then you don't have to worry about putting every one of these numbers in here. This is a canned cycle, so what it does, it will do the Z minus 0.380. This Q value here is the PEC. The R.1, that R.1 would be your safe retract, so that's telling that to come up to 0.1, and the F is your feed. And then all it needs after that is the different positions right here. It'll do all this rest of this automatically, and then it comes up and you'll look at it. G80, that cancels that drill cycle. M5 stops the spindle, and M9 would stop the coolant if you had that on there. So we're ready to go. Let's try cycle start. And that's all there is to it. So that's all you need for that, and that is just such a handy thing without having to go to any other software. You have a bolt hole circle.